Yeah, let's get into our final conversation of the hour. And we're talking about, food safety here and food from the side of meat. Now, we know this when it comes to skuma and all the others, nyanya and vitungu, that we know, they say, do not spray pesticides if you're going to harvest same day and send to the market same day. Okay? Now, how about giving your cattle medicine and milking? If your cow is sick, imeenda kwa daktari, imeandikiwa, take 3 times a day with lots of water
sure.
and food. Utakuwa kuja for shindano on Thursdays, so on and so forth. Are you now supposed to be milking that cow and consuming the milk? And even worse, selling that milk for consumption by others? Or if you're looking at your cow and you're thinking, kameanza kuwa kazuri, kabla kakue kagonjwa tena, wacha nikapeleke soko. Kambuzi ama kangombe. Peleka soko kakiwa kana meremeta, uza, change same day, inaingia kwa butchery. Right? Is the concern is there actually residue of all that dawa still in the system? And does it impact the users of that? And so on and so forth. We are talking about concern of a misuse of veterinary medicine. This is a concern that was actually raised by the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development, Mutahi Kagwe, just last week, when it said antimicrobial resistance has evolved beyond a veterinary concern into a major public health, food security and economic challenge, and is warning that failure to comply with global standards on antimicrobial residues in meat products could undermine our efforts, not just for public health, but for accessing export markets. True. Because nyama inafika huko, inapimwa, inaonekana imejaa dawa. Kenya has a problem. No exports. Okay.
Already I take issue with the framing. It should be a public health issue first before it becomes, no, suddenly we can't.
Now take issue with the story as it's written.
Yes.
The angle of the story as it's written was focusing on that.
On the export issue.
On the export issue.
Okay.
Because probably at this particular point they're talking about, they have meat exporters in the room. And they were discussing that from that angle. Okay. But it's public health across board, which affects your domestic consumption and also affects the whole reason why you're actually keeping these cattle to sell. We have a veterinary doctor with us in the room to walk us through this, Dr. Peter Akunda. Good morning.
Morning, Latif. Thanks for having me here.
Karibu, and thank you very much for coming.
Sure.
We start the show with Felari's giving you a day's quote, and let's see what you feel of the words that were said by somebody.
Okay, sure.
Karibu sana daktari.
Thanks so much.
Today's quote is courtesy of a French philosopher who went on to become a winner of the 1927 Nobel Prize in Literature. And the quote reads, his name is Henry Bergson.
Okay.
The quote reads, "The consequence of every act is included in the act itself." The consequence of every act is included in the act itself. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, that is a very powerful quote. And many a times in all situations, there are deep messages in those situations, probably insights, that if you look at the superficial aspect of that issue, you miss the deeper point in the situation. And that's why we always encourage, if you're in a situation, you're analyzing an issue, the first thing you have to understand, what is the message, what's the wisdom, what's the message in this thing, before even you react. I will relate with it that way.
Perspective. Quite like it.
Asante sana. Doc, let's just first of all start by setting the scene.
Sure.
All right?
Sure.
A veterinary doctor, we know in sharks they're called veterinary.
Yeah.
Ng'ombe ni mgonjwa, mbuzi ni mgonjwa, ita veterinary. Unataka AI, ita veterinary.
Yeah.
So what have you studied?
I've studied veterinary medicine by training, but in my profession I've worked with various a group of experiences. So currently I'm into biochemicals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is biochemicals when it comes to it?
So biochemicals, we are going back to our roots and asking ourselves, do we still have solutions with plant-based? Because currently our market shifted quickly towards the end of 18th century. Our market shifted quickly to pharmaceuticals. These were chemical-based drugs. But currently, again, we are going back to the roots, the 16th, the 18th centuries, or the beginning of medicine. It was a plant-based issue. We used to take our medicine from the plants. But because that seems to be a old-fashioned way, people shifted quickly towards the new technologies and development to the chemicals. But chemicals, again, are also failing. So we are again shifting back to the plant-based and getting our solution from the plants.
We are going back.
Yeah.
Ng'ombe ikiwa mgonjwa unaikatakatia nini?
Mwarubaini.
Unaiwekea kwa maji.
Yes.
Kunywa.
Well, it can treat 40 ailments, not 40 human ailments.
40 ailments.
40 ailments.
Unaikatia kwa ng'ombe yako inaitwa Alice. Alice, kunywa hii. Now walk us through, at what points does a veterinary doctor actually appear in the life cycle of an animal?
Sure.
A domestic animal, tusiende kwa wanyama. Cow, goat, pig,
So the food production
yes.
animals.
Yes.
So there are various touches where a vet will appear, but majorly farmers are also covering some areas. And looking at the perspective, a farmer will only wait until the situation is a matter of life and death to the animal. Probably when it comes to diseases, that's the point he will call a vet. But there are also other touches where the farmer will call a vet, especially when the farmer has a challenge. Let's say the cow, it's ready for breeding. If you're talking about a cow, at that point, the farmer will call a vet to come and do the insemination. And to some extent, also some of these elite farmers, if you categorize farmers, they're in groups. There are small scale, subsistence farming, and then there's the middle scale, and then there's high level commercial farms. Some of the commercial farms are working with professionals and experts. So you have programs that you really need to go back and look at the animals, evaluate the programs, evaluate your interventions. So at that point, again, a vet will come in and you'll see them supporting some of these elite farmers. So it always depends with the situation. Is it something that I need to do routinely with the vet? Or is it a follow-up thing that the vet needs to come and evaluate? Yeah.
So that's at that point, at production. From markets to food.
Yeah, and then when it comes to market to food, from the let's take farmers. Farmers as the producers, and actually we are calling them producers because they are producing products that we, the population, consume. So at some point, when we are supporting farmers to produce whatever they are producing, could be milk, meat, eggs, honey. So at that point, vets are kind of close out to the farmer because we want them to be profitable. And in case there's anything trying to pull money out of the profitability, vets are coming to intervene. But once the produce are leaving the farm to the market, I think there's a gap there. There's less of regulation, there's less of testing, whether it's safe, and to some extent put our levels of farming at the small scale. By the time he's accessing the high-level market test and stuff, he has already sold at the gate level or just sell to the local market. So some of the food stuff that are accessing the market, you will find less attached with the vets. So at that point, there is a gap I can see.
Okay, that's at vet level, and I think there's a lot of informality in how we consume our food, which brings this about. But is it an awareness or capacity issue in your view? Is it that I don't know that I should be taking this cow to the vet? Should it show a symptom of this or that? Or these chickens have been dying? Are the other ones sick? Is it I don't know? Or vet sounds expensive?
Yeah, there is awareness issue, and awareness issue I put it in form of look at the availability of vets, especially in the interior areas or areas whereby it's a bit remote. You'd find the production is being done without vets because vets are not available. But where vets are kind of available and we're in population, especially in high population, especially in urban centers, I think I'll rule out awareness. Awareness kind of is being done, and especially there's too much information around us. People are able to access from our phones, from any other medias. So to some extent, there is a bit of enlightenment. So awareness is a bit okay. But now action in terms of to ensure the right things are being done, and especially by the professionals, and in this case the vets, I think there we we have a gap.
Yeah. The shortcuts you mentioned, like a very common one that you hear is people giving broiler chicken antibiotics
Sure.
in advance,
Sure.
preempting that they'll get an infection.
Sure.
So is that a fact, and how prevalent is it in your knowledge, and what other shortcuts are people taking?
Actually, it's good you have asked that question, because that is an area whereby it's a challenge. It's a mess in a way, because broilers are raised within a month. Like by week 5, 6, 7, let's just say once you've achieved your market weight, you sell. But they have a challenge. By the time you're approaching the market weight, actually they normally get a condition there. Farmers are aware of it. I don't know how they will call it in their own local terms, but in English sometimes we call them, the term is water belly. And so much of them get into a shock, like they die quickly. And to some extent, again, it's coupled with a lot of respiratory problems. You see them really struggling. So many a times at that point, farmers are desperate, they want to sell. It's at a point you want to harvest your money, but at the same time, the body is sick. So quickly they pump in antibiotics, which is so much wrong, because by the time they're selling the produce to the market, they're reaching these residuals. But I'm happy I've seen solutions coming up, and especially when I talk of plant-based, I've seen some solutions coming up to cover farmers at that level, and we are actually playing with the programs. We write them programs and we share some of those solutions. They are plant-based with zero chemicals. Agrikim has done a good job around that with zero chemicals. So you just give to the birds at that point, and you've already highlighted a program which you already set for farmers to use. It's on the websites of these organizations. So you go on those websites, you read the program, and then you follow that and use a plant-based free chemical solutions, and you produce safe food other than antibiotic and chemicals, which are really killing the population right now, because the consumer doesn't know whether it has it or not.
That's true. And outside of antibiotics, because when we speak about medicines, we tend to focus just on one class of medicines. But there's many others that animals and what would be categorized as veterinary medicines. We have the likes of painkillers, we have growth hormones, we have growth hormones or growth promoters, whatever you want to call it, vaccines and all of that. Which are the most abused from your experience, and what counts as misuse, not even abuse, what counts as misuse from what you've seen with farmers?
Actually, it's good when you're talking about the categories. There are various categories. There are antibiotics, there are dewormers, there are caricides. And you look across almost all group of categories, in one way or the other, it's being abused and misused. Let's use the term misused. Misused here, it could be you're using it at the wrong condition. Shouldn't be used in that. Like when you see someone using a caricide, maybe to do something like spray the crops. But in case of animals,
what's a caricide?
A caricide is a chemical used to control pests in animals, especially ticks, fleas, and flies. So you'll find some of the farmers using it in different. It's used to spray, but they will use it in different ways. Some of them even reformulating it, making concoction. So in that position, it's being abused. Dewormers, when you're probably using it in underdose or overdose, some of the farmers will say, if I put double dose, it will work better, it will become strong. And some of them, because I don't have money, let me use little by little to ensure all the animals are dewormed or given this drug. So again, that's a misuse. And when it comes to antibiotic is now the babayao. Like it has been abused, and it's a serious now public health. Since this knowledge is in the public of antimicrobial resistance, and the silent killer here is the antibiotics. The resistance is quite high, even in hospitals, in humans, as well as even in animals. Nowadays, vets are struggling to cure some conditions.
Walk us through, because people may not see the chain of microbial resistance. I think they may know that taking antibiotics when not prescribed or needed as a human being can lead to antimicrobial resistance. But walk me through the chain when it comes to animals. and then into humans.
Okay, so there is that aspect of using it in animals, and you misuse, maybe misdiagnosis and use it in a wrong way, overuse and underuse by the vets, and then it causes problems in the animals. But now the biggest problem, it will come at the withdrawal point. You see, every veterinary product has an indication of withdrawal. After you have used it, any produce from these animals should not be used for these several days. Okay. They have indicated on every veterinary product, including even saying 0 day. But some are going all the way to 60 days, 42 weeks, and 4 days. So a farmer, once he has, the animals have been treated or the drug has been administered, and probably this farmer is producing milk or eggs, he looks at this withdrawal period because you have actually said it should not be used, produce from these animals should not be used for food or consumption. So the cost is quite high, and it becomes very painful to lose all this money because some farmers are having 50,000 birds, 1 million birds, and you want to discard the eggs for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 days. It's a lot of cost. So with this pain, they do not follow the withdrawal cost. So they will sell this produce to the market with those residues, and that's actually the biggest misuse, because for a veterinary drug you have to follow all the way to the withdrawal. That is where the chain gets complete. But because we have left the withdrawal for the farmer and the cost for the farmer, because a pharmaceutical will just right there withdraw for 42 days, but it doesn't bear the cost of the 42 days. That cost is with the farmer and the producer, and that's why they don't obey. Then the produce gets to the consumers, and then now the problem now amplifies.
I'm actually just curious as to how the inspections that happen before this produce gets to market. Correct?
Sure.
With meat, you can test, but with some things like eggs, are there ways of testing and seeing that these eggs came from birds that were, still under medication? What are the checks for that? And where are the loopholes? Because the loophole has to be then with the enforcement.
Sure. Yeah, given an opportunity, we can test because these residues can be detected. But how you look at the logistics, the processes, like you want to come and test eggs in Wangige market, for instance, the logistics, the equipments, like how do you execute that? So many a times, even the resources wise, you look at the resources, how many people would I need to follow up on this? So it's something that can be done, but the logistic, the process becomes something of a challenge. So for me, I'll say there's enforcement, there's a way we are creating awareness, and actually vets are being employed to ensure these things are being followed, including even monitoring and discussing with the farmers. But executing to a point of testing when it's getting to the market is a big gap, and I would say it's not.
It's not doable. Let me just call it. Let me tell you, Daktari. Okay.
Yes.
It is not doable.
It's not doable.
Not in our kind of setup.
Yes.
Majority of our food is from the smallholder farmers.
Yes.
Our milk is from smallholder farmers.
Yes.
Our eggs, our chicken, our meat. It's just.
Yeah.
So you'd need to have people at the farm gates.
Yes,
at all the farms.
And to test again.
To test.
Yes.
And say, sure this was
I raise
not
you.
possible.
I raise you this wonderful thing called cooperatives.
Okay. That's exactly it. So a solution would be you have to look back into how you organize into these things. Currently, farmers, the ones who are in cooperatives are few. Milk farmers, some of them come into cooperatives and they're selling milk because then the cooperative is selling to either it's buying or processing or on selling to a processor. Other farmers who are in these things are tea farmers and coffee farmers. Those ones are organized. Many of our livestock farmers are not in these forms of cooperatives. And that's why it becomes a very difficult thing. The incentive for forming a cooperative would not be so that you can check and tell me I can't sell my eggs. I will never join a cooperative. The incentive has to be something else. And even the incentive for the cooperatives, for somebody to actually give those eggs through the cooperatives and nowhere else, has to be something. So what then would be our solution? You are a farmer, Maria. You have poultry, and you have given them dower, And this thing has told you, for the next 3 weeks, no egg should leave your farm. Even go to your frying pan.
I
Hata
throw
wewe mwenyewe.
3 weeks worth of eggs.
3 weeks worth of eggs. Right? What would incentivize you to actually follow that? Remember, this chicken for you are not pets.
They are my
They
income.
are a source of livelihood.
They are my income.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's only the law. Literally. Let me put it like this.
Right?
Why I'm saying cooperatives, if it is mandated that I can only sell my eggs through a cooperative. Of course, I can do Eric Shikamayai, hey, give me 100 bob, here are your eggs, fine. That, but if I want to sell at some form of scale, I have to go through a cooperative, fine. At the cooperative, they are testing by batch. If it doesn't pass that test, it doesn't go to market. So it comes back to me to be compliant. It would, because I see the economic cost, but I know Doc was alluding to some organic medicines that may not be as expensive and may not need you to maybe wait 3 weeks for the withdrawal. But as a farmer, I'll be honest, it's the law that's going to compel me. It's not going to be out of goodwill that I'm throwing 3 weeks of eggs.
But also, just maybe to layer in as Daktari comes in, we've seen the private sector come up with schemes that allow the farmer to be cushioned from some of these things. So they know, if at all I'm having to let go of produce of 3 weeks, there is a component, there's an insurance component, just a small one, that is able to at least guarantee me some money even as I deal with this. Has that been implemented at cooperative level? Maybe it needs to.
Actually, to add on that, because my sister here is quite attentive, and Mariam, and is really getting these details as it should be. For the pharmaceutical side and for the farmer, actually, little can be done in terms of if you're producing the chemicals, you just have to indicate the withdrawal.
Yes.
But at the farmer level, the expenses are quite high to an extent that the farmer can't bear. And even some of these insurances, they're also in business, can't cover some of these costs. So, and that's why we say now we are getting back to our roots again. We are going back to the first principle thinking. And now we are coming up with the plant-based, but the biochemicals that have zero withdrawals now. Now we are telling you, you use it together with your management practices, and then you avoid the withdrawal, and then you avoid that cost, and then you release safe products into the market. And Agrikima actually has done one of the organizations called Agrikima has done a very good program around the plant-based and how to support farmers on how to produce safe using plant-based solution. And if the population can support that, that's how now we are going to win and see the solutions coming. But if the population will still persist on chemical-based element, we will not be solving the problem.
Is this practical at large scale? Because you have your smallholder farmers who would then maybe be able to access this quick and fast, because then it's not at scale. They just maybe have like a few birds, few livestock that they have to take care of. They can manage the organic way. Think about someone who has who has a ranch and has him is on mass production. How sustainable is this, and what would be the cost aspect? Because we keep seeing anything that has an organic tag is slightly more expensive, especially now.
Actually, the biggest abusers are small-scale farmers, and I will explain. For small-scale farmers, they wait for the problem to occur. They wait for their birds to start to die. They wait for them to start to sneeze. They wait for them to be sick. That's when they react. And at that point, actually, the chemical is the most ideal. It has a position. The chemical is the most ideal. So they have their position in one way. It's integrated. But the large-scale producers, the commercial producers, they don't wait for the problem to occur. And that's why we are setting management practices, this language of systems to ensure diseases are not happening, or this farm is not affected by diseases or any challenge that will make the farmer lose money. So in those practices is where now the organic solutions comes in through the preventive systems.
The cost?
Very affordable. Actually, very affordable, because you look at even their dilution rates. You find most of the chemical-based, you'll find a dilution rate in water is 1:1. But most of the organic solution you'll find, you use 1 ml, you dilute with 6 liters of water. So you'd find it becomes cheaper based on the dynamics of the drug. And to some extent, you're not withdrawing anything, so you're not incurring any withdrawal cost. If you want to slaughter the chicken the following day, safe for consumption. Yeah. So the large scale is the most important person to use the plant-based. As you fit into the management practices, and in this case, preventive practices, whereby you're keeping the animals healthy. You know, with the plant-based, we are talking about antioxidants, immune boosters, and slow down of the virals and the build-up of these microbes.
There's a solution. And Mariam, I think what you said then just lands it right there. Small-scale farmers need to be aggregated to become large-scale farmers.
Okay.
Because when now it becomes a cooperative, that cooperative is the producer.
Yeah. Sure.
Right? That has employed small-scale farmers that is then using. Then Daktari can come up with that system for the cooperative. And say, we are going to manage our livestock this way for the end of the market. You see, now that will make sense. Yeah. Sure. Because at the very beginning, all of you are together and all of you are then employing Daktari alone and his team and coming up with a system, and they're monitoring and they know what they're doing instead of dealing with 50 farmers with different types of chicken at different stages, all those things.
And maybe that chicken farmer, has peacocks in there, has fowl.
So much.
And all those kind of things. So if it's the aggregation, and then the issue then goes back to Mutahi Kagwe and his ministry.
Okay.
And the Ministry of Cooperatives. One of the things, this plan thing that they keep talking about, we came up with a plan. The president said he was given a week leave of absence by his former boss for 2 years. Akaenda jangwani. Come up with a plan. And now he's employing the plan. In that plan, we've had some interviews with some of these people, like, Presidential Advisor on Food Security. One of the key cogs, because agriculture is a key cog of the bottom-up economic agenda plan, was bringing farmers together into cooperatives. And then, working with cooperatives in terms of even market access and all. That's why they started with registering farmers. So that we know how many farmers we have in Kenya, where they are, and what they're producing. Then we know how to bundle them together. So then we can give support, whether it's inputs to the cooperative, so the cooperative, that whole plan. Plan the realities kaenda mrama. If we were to go back to the plan, we'd be addressing these issues. Right? Now, let's flip it. You as veterinary doctors and experts in this field, you can see this and you can see the concern. And you can see where this is heading. It's just not helping anybody. It's not even helping you because you're not doing the job that you ought to be doing. Is there a way in which you can influence for things to be done the right way? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, you look at the challenges that are in the field. Actually, it's not a one-person solution, and it's more of every stakeholder trying to come together, because if you look at the technology that actually I'm trying to work with, it's not the only solution. A pharmaceutical also has a solution. Pharma has a way of doing, is a player as well. He or she is a player. They have a position. Vets have position. Other organizations, especially there are some nice producers outside there, the buyers that are processing this produce, they're also players. So for me, coming up in group, it's a way of bringing, it's like a collaborative way. It's a way of saying that the solution will come through all of us participating. But at the end of the day, coordination will be very much important. And in this case, for producers that are buying from the farmers, and actually they are doing it, I support some of them are doing it, they have to test. They have to test some of these, like milk. Milk is being tested by these producers. I've seen even their produce in the market, in the shelves are expensive because they're spending more to do that. So they're playing a part here. So that any farmer that doesn't produce correctly and sell free from residues, is punished. Your produce are not being bought, you lose money, you get that pain. But that pain, we don't want to leave it with the farmer. That's why I'm saying zero withdrawal is also part of the solution. And then now the government also is in this thing. We employing, like making sure people are there, public awareness, talking to these farmers, because privates are doing it. I mean, the private side, they are doing it. You are going out, you are telling these people, we are pushing this technology. But I think also if the government can come to that position, because rarely you will meet in this commercial level, rarely you will meet someone from the government coming to intervene. So I think coming together is important for collaboration, but the only challenge would be how do we coordinate all these stakeholders together so that we don't leave anyone behind.
So it's a joint effort.
It's a joint effort.
Yeah.
I wanted to just go slightly outside the scope of veterinary medicine and talk about aflatoxins as well.
Sure.
Still quite a big issue. Just explain to us what aflatoxins are and how they're finding their way into pet food and feeds, and then into the pets and into us as well.
Sure. So aflatoxin, in simple terms, I would say there's a microorganism or an organism called a fungal of fungi. So these organisms, they like growing where there is moist and oxygen available. So they like turning organic products or just safe products into a product rich in toxins. And these toxins are so many, we call them mycotoxins. So if you get specific mycotoxins, there are so much. So one of them is the aflatoxins. So, but there are others around the same. So storage of our feeds, including from the source of procuring, just from the plant. When you're harvesting maize, you can harvest maize already rich in this. So if we don't control from that level, it will get into the feeds. Feeds, of course, just mixing up and coming up with a ration that is good for a specific animal, just meeting the nutrients requirement. So they will come in through the feeds. If not managed at that level, again, it will get into the produce, because these are toxins and they overwhelm our system quite fast. Like the liver, I don't know, liver, it will get overwhelmed because they are so potent. They move quickly into, so it will get out from the animal through the meat and also milk. So by the time the population is accessing these, you're already getting a toxin that started all the way from maize. So we are having solutions actually. We call them mycotoxin binders. I've seen Mycomax, one of the strongest around right now. So we are combining these with the feeds from raw material level, so that it traps from there, prevents them, because it grows in the feed, prevents that from there. And then those mycotoxins, again, there are portions of them that also help in the system when it's already in the system. How do we trap? How do we bring them down so that it doesn't get from the animal level? And once you attack from the raw material to the animal level, if you do a good job, you'll have several products. So it's a big challenge, and it's one of the concern in public health, especially around the cancer and
liver damage, all of that.
Actually, just where is the gap when it comes to testing for aflatoxins? Because it's products that are in the market that will have a KEB sticker sometimes that are killing animals, and then if it's gotten into the animals, it's finding its way to us.
I would say. Actually, this thing is commercial, and there are ways we can do things the right way and probably sell nice products and make your money. But in another way, there are ways we'll take shortcuts, do the right things, have the product in the market, and as well as sell. Someone who is doing the right thing will test the raw material. If it has that, you discard or you don't use. From there, you will test your product before you sell to the market. If it doesn't meet the standards, still have these toxins, because there are solutions to prevent the toxins from growing and getting to the end produce. So the right person will do everything the right way, and he will have a right product, and he will sell and will cure this. But the wrong person will take shortcuts, maybe use a cheaper products that will not fulfill the function, or use a substandard don't test the raw material, and some extent maybe you have already paid for them, the other person doesn't want to take it back. So you just proceed and do the wrong stuff and end up with the wrong product, and you sell the wrong product. So for me, the sensitivity, once I've used a product and my animal or my dog has come up with an issue with aflatoxin, and I identify this product, it's good to highlight. Nowadays, once information is out there, people are sensitive. They will know this company or this kind of product is not good for animals. And we can do the right things. So alarm and say, I've seen that. I personally have recommended a product that I know is good, and I've also recommended a product that should not be used because they are there.
It's, getting to hear from a practitioner in that space, speak to this. For me, I wouldn't say I'm feeling entirely comforted because it's a crisis that's in our hands. When you see reports that are coming from, the livestock research, I'm seeing the levels of aflatoxin are 50 times the recommended amount. That in itself is very scary, which begs the question, is the problem too ahead of us for us to really be able to reverse and deal with it? And what do we need to do at policy level? From your observation and experience, what have you seen would need to do at policy level to deal with everything that we've discussed, be it the misuse of vet medicines, be it what we are seeing in terms of inspections and, what is making its way to people's plates?
Yeah, I would say this, in terms of talking about this, and even government coming in, we vets also having our forums, trying to enlighten ourselves and see the best way we can support to ensure the population, because it's more of protecting the population to consume a safe food. In terms of awareness and talking and saying it's a challenge, actually vets and key players, they have done it. But in terms of ensuring these things are being done, there's a big gap, because I normally visit small-scale farmers, small-scale feed millers, people who are in the industry. And you would see, even if you're there to try and support to ensure things are done in the right way, there are so many gaps. Look at their condition of their storage, how they're storing some of these raw materials. And they're very expensive go-downs. I know VMD, one of the government bodies, also checking if your setup is correct to store and sell. But at the end of the day, again, there are some spaces they don't reach. Even you look at the population of the employees in this VMD as a body that should also supporting the cabs. You look, there are some places it's not being done. So by the time we are not getting to these places and trying and enforce and bringing that element of, it's like an ethical thing. Like it also has to come from this person. Am I really, like, assuming this person made $1 million, but he killed 80 kids. So that perspective, am I really doing the right thing? So enforcement is there, but also the people who are doing it, like if it's a feed miller, if it's a farmer, is it really, is he or she feeling the ethical part of this thing that he's doing? Am I really doing the right thing? Because technologies are there. I can tell you, Mycomax is one of the strong in terms of trapping that to ensure you don't get to the end produce. But is it being probably used?
Properly used?
And this person is aware the person is supposed to do it.
Wow. So that part I think hurts, because if it's a matter of a lack of knowledge, it can be like, okay, let's get agricultural extension officers out there. Let's do a massive public service campaign. But if someone knows,
and they choose not to
the
do
wrong
it,
stuff. That's a
again,
thing.
it's so heartbreaking that the person that carries the burden of responsibility, refusing to do it, I think that is criminal in itself. And these people actually ought to be prosecuted per the law, because you cannot then, take such things so lightly. It's a matter of public health. If enforcement is the issue and the enforcement officers are refusing to do that which they're supposed to do, they ought to be jailed. And I hope the institutions that, run all of this are watching and listening.
If we had a functional parliament, it oversights all these things. And parliament is representing those farmers, and it can see what the issues are with the farmers. Then, what do you people need? Why aren't you doing the job that your honorable chairman, we don't have the budget that you give us can only afford us to recruit X to be here, to be there, and this is what we are able to do. So what do you need? You need more money. Okay, toa pesa ya confidential, weka kwa farmers. Right? It would be toa pesa ya State Lodge. Yes. Rais akienda Meru, alale kwa official residence of the governor. Governor anaweza enda alale kwa kioski usiku. Kama hawezi tosha siku. You know? And so on and so forth. Let me sample some of the comments that are coming in. Okay. Francis Odhiambo says the challenges that face farmers are 1, high prices of veterinary and meds, 2, lack of continuous training and seminars, 3, no veterinaries in rural areas. They are ill, self-trained veterinary doctors, and 4, high cost of feeds. He continues to say, what happened to the cattle dips that were in the rural areas? These are some of the things that are making our meats and not meet export threshold. How do we help the small-scale farmers get to the standard? Mkenya says the government should ban importation and sale of these vaccines. Product sellers should also be inspected and hefty fines. Why doesn't it happen? Doesn't that happen in developed countries?
Right.
Right.
And we'll also just hold on to that thought. Ask about the whole hullabaloo around vaccinating cows.
Livestock.
Okay. Alex Mayore, the problem in this industry is the deteriorating level of checks and balances. Regulatory authorities have been compromised to allow low standards of products to enter the market. You said that, right?
Yeah.
And Bosco, strengthening the regulatory space for animal feeds is the solution to aflatoxins. Registration of feed millers, setting standards, and monitoring for compliance across the chain.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which of those would you like to respond to first? Start with, like, the challenges that farmers face. Do you agree that those are the ones? High cost of...
I agree with almost what you have shared from the viewers. One of the things when it comes to cost of some of these inputs, actually there are some that they will look pricey in terms of the scale of management or scale of production, but at those level of scales of production, they will not look pricey because on a large scale, and being efficient, probably on a large scale and being efficient, your profits would enable you do some of these things that won't look pricey. But on a small scale, everything will look pricey because your production is also, but it's relative. It's relative. It will look pricey. And then on another level, the population of vets. And like the reason why I'm saying you'll see many private vets actually moving into farms, supporting farmers, it's because as well we're in the job. We are supporting, and at the same time we are in the job. But there is that element of, can I support this farmer without necessarily waiting when he has a problem or she has a problem? So there's that level, and we're calling it management practices. You just go there, support the farmer to do some things correctly. If it's vaccination, have a program. If it's deworming, have a program. If it's to supplement, have a program. So you set up those things so that in case there's a challenge, it's not a frequent thing that every now and then the farmer is having this. So setting up those things is very important, and the vets can help. One other thing about what you mentioned, the first question, there was a third point.
The third one was banning importation.
Oh, of vaccines and
with the capacity and the gaps we have, as I would say, this more about our technology. We can't ban all these technologies that are coming from outside. Because you look at some of these vaccines, like currently, you just do a quick analysis, you'll see we have deficits of these vaccines, and they are preventive programs. And right now we are talking, the only way to ensure we are not abusing or misusing some of these drugs is to prevent the conditions that will warrant you to use those drugs. So one way is it's vaccination. You'll see their shortage. Feeds and feed production. Look at the raw materials. Again, we are competing at the same rate as human. There are shortages, but with the right plans, we can reduce some of these shortages. But with the shortages, again, there are importation gaps, we have to do them. But if importation, again, is done in the right way, regulated, and we're getting the right products, for me, I would not look at that as a challenge, as long as we are solving our problems in a better way. So banning importation, for me, at this level currently,
overkill.
Would not be the
It's
solution.
not the solution.
Do we need to vaccinate our cattle?
For sure, vaccination is very important program, and the reason why I told you some of this plant-based work in preventive way, it's together with some of those programs of vaccine. You know, when you vaccinate, you reactivate the immune system. You keep the immune system active.
Yeah.
Our body and the animal's body have been made with several systems. So one of the systems that keeps the animal from getting sick and stress is the immune system, and that system works by when the body is being attacked, it reacts.
Okay.
So it only gets overwhelmed when it's not at the best level to handle the condition. So vaccination is keeping that system active and challenging the system to be active against most of these common infections. And these infections are also attacking animals, and we are misusing, because at that level I'll call it misuse, they are viral. So when viral attacks, someone uses an antibiotic, and you need an antiviral.
Yeah.
So again, the misuse comes there. And the only way to handle a viral infection is by vaccination. So you need to go for the antiviral at that point. So vaccination for me is something I would not rule out of support, and it's very critical.
Thank you. Dr. Peter Akunda is a veterinary surgeon, and we'll be talking about, vet medicine, misuse, and just lack of knowledge and awareness on what's the good, what's the bad in our practices. Let's be careful about that. Asante for tuning in. Coming up, your world.
Right.
Who dare?
We have two versions, need versions.
Two conversations.
Two conversations, yes, of your worlds today. We begin with building sustainable healthcare systems with courtesy of Outspan Hospital. And of course, it'll be Winnie Lubembe and Mary Mwikali hosting Dr. Lydia Mudhoni, as well as Richard Masharia and Dr. Peter Murimi. So let's get into that conversation.
Outspan
Hospital.
Outspan Hospital.
Iko Nyeri.
It's in Nyeri.
Iko Nyeri.
Watu wenyewe wanasema ameenda Outspan.
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 Okay.
And then the other conversation?
The second conversation is on endometriosis uncovered, why early diagnosis matters. And I'm happy that we're still having this conversation, and it's with Dr. Richard Saningo, who'll be joining Mary and Winnie on the second hour.
Right.
Winnie.
It's Winnie. All right. You wanted to say 30 seconds, Dr.
Yeah, actually that's why I wanted to say, can I say? So I think the best way we can handle this situation is when we understand veterinary medicine as important as any other medicine you are using, and we need to treat them as so with care, because if we treat them right, we'll save our population, but if we treat them wrong, we'll kill our population. So thanks so much.
If you continue to treat this normally, you'll treat us abnormally. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.
Thanks so much.